Welcome to Recovery Live. I am Alicia in California, and I am going to be joined with Cass today.
Yes.
Tom is on an airplane, or maybe he's probably on a plane right now, flying to LA for some meetings. So we get to have the show without him.
Thank God.
We Yay! Just kidding, Tom. But what do we have upcoming? Just so we can start with that. Like, what are some upcoming retreats or dates and stuff that we have?
Yes. So in February 16th to 18th, we are going into the city team mission in San Jose, California with the team to provide like a fully subsidized retreat for them. So I know the team's really excited for that. And that's like a really cool experience for everyone. Then February 21st in New York City, we're having our third mocktail hour. We're still working on the name, but it's going to center around relationships and romance in sobriety. What do those look like? Is it difficult? Is it easy? And kind of individuals on the panel will be sharing their experiences with that, which I think is really cool because it's definitely like a topic that goes both ways. Like you want companionship, but then on traditional A, they tell you should not, in that first year, you should not be dating, you shouldn't be romantically involved with anyone. So I think it'll be a fun conversation. In March, I think it's the first or second week in March, where we'll be in Portland, Oregon, again to a city team mission, which is exciting because we've never been there before. So that's pretty cool. And then April 5th through 7th in Kips Bay, New York City, we'll be having a retreat. That's our first one in New York City, and that's live on the website, so everyone can register.
Is that an in-person, or a commuter, or is
Yeah,
it
that's a commuter retreat. Yep.
okay,
So you go back and forth each day.
okay.
So those are the ones really coming up. I mean, we'll have Malibu in June. We'll have probably and possibly we're working on the details for Nevada City in May.
Working that
Um,
out, yes.
yes, but all of those will probably be. Most of them are live on the website, and if they aren't, they will be soon.
Okay,
A lot going on.
awesome. So I want to talk about, and Cass said, I can join you on that one. Food, exercise, food addiction, sugar, too much, gray area, black and white thinking. Food is my main addiction was food and eating disorders. And I just feel that it's really tough. And I don't want to like negate drugs and everything else, but we have to eat.
Mhm.
And it's just, I don't want to say more difficult. That doesn't sound right, but I hope you know what I mean.
It's more complex. Like you can't
Yes,
just stop. You don't.
totally. And there's so many different food programs out there, and they're
Mhm.
so different. It's kind of like
Yeah.
with alcohol, there's not that, it's like one, don't drink, but with food, it's like you could do it this way, you could do it this way, and you lose your sobriety or you're not recovered anymore if you do this. And then some are like, that's fine. And it could be a brain explosion for
Yeah.
someone like me, though it's freeing, I feel, because I'm 5 years
Mhm.
now. In the beginning, I think I would have been more like, ah, and I did need more reins actually in the beginning. But
Yeah.
now I'm like exploring, like, well, can I do this? And I have a sponsor. I have two sponsors actually. And I ask them questions. And I think with food, it's very individual, but
Mhm.
I have to be so honest with myself because I could tell you right now, I'm fine. I can eat that. But inside, I know not so much.
Yeah.
No. And I know your experience with it is a little different than mine, but I think so many people are struggling either high level or low
Mhm.
with food because of our food environment today and the marketing and the sugar and the processed food and the
Yeah.
healthy
And then all the
stuff.
information out about it is kind
It's
of anxiety
crazy.
inducing.
Yes.
Yeah, I always say there's two types of people, people who live to eat and people who eat to live. And I
Yes.
always live to eat. Like I love food. But I
I
think
do
that
too. But I
but
want
then
to
there's
be
that
more.
fine line that we're balancing of
It
too much,
is.
too little, what do you eat? And I think exactly like what you were saying, it's like a tightrope of what when you have exercise or food, because we do need both of those things. That's period. You have to eat, and you should and need to
Movement.
exercise.
Yeah.
So it's a difficult tightrope that you're walking, and then you have all these, influencers and diets being thrown at you in 1 minute. This eggs are good, next minute eggs are bad. Like, and for a lot of people, that's really difficult, and kind of, I know for me, has always created a lot of like food insecurity and anxiety around, am I eating the right things? What does healthy look like on me? I always struggled with looking at a scale. And I remember when I was doing F45 and they have like the body scan thing. I think you've talked about something like
Is
that
that
before.
a gym, F45?
It's like a HIIT workout place. It's probably not like, it's not
We don't
super
have those
fine
out here.
tuned.
Okay.
It's HIIT workout. Like, so they have trainers that are taking you through it and everything.
I love it.
Yeah, it was really fun. And I remember the trainer that I was friends with, I was like, about my weight, and he was like, "You're a 6 foot tall athlete." He's like, the
Exactly.
scale doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. When you put muscle, that scale is gonna go up. What is that? It doesn't mean anything. Like, you have to let that go. And he was like, "You need to be eating more." First of all, as soon as I looked at you, he's like, "I could tell that." Okay. And I was like, but so that I know that that's
It's
something that I've always struggled with. Like, I don't weigh myself ever, because if I do, it makes me spiral, and then I'm like, I need to count my calories, and I need to eat less, and I need to exercise more, and I need to do this, and it just like makes me spiral. But I know that's sort of like a trigger for me, so I don't do it. I don't weigh myself, because I now can tell when, like, if I feel good, I know what I'm eating, I'm exercising every day. Okay, I'm fine. It doesn't matter what that scale says. Like, I'm doing okay.
right. See, and that alone with the scale in this realm is so different for you because
Mhm.
I was there. And now I kind of use the scale as like a hello, look at it and check yourself, because then I'll get all prideful and like, yeah. And then I'll just go off the rails a little bit. And then, so I use that as like a checkpoint, but not
Mhm.
to like beat myself up, but a checkpoint. And I think there's others. I know somebody, I listened to a podcast and this is new to her, but she weighs herself every single day, every day. And then she kind of like, it keeps her in line. But for
Yeah.
you, that would freaking drive you crazy.
Yeah, I can't
So
do
it's kind of the same. Like,
that.
you got to find what works for you with honesty. Like, can
Mhm.
you really weigh yourself and not define your life by a freaking number?
Yeah.
Like the same with you. I mean, I'm not 6 foot, but I'm like really muscular
Mhm.
and I weigh a lot. And when I tell people, they're like, whoa. And then that makes me
It
feel
doesn't
bad.
help.
But I'm like, yeah, but I'm 12% body fat. And then I just go crazy. So
Yeah.
you gotta know who to tell and who not to tell, and then not take things personally because they're coming from a diet space, maybe, and they don't know what
Yeah.
we know. And I don't know what they know. And I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, this might sound
Mhm.
sexist, but I think girls struggle with this way more than men. Don't you
Yeah, I
think?
think that's probably accurate. I would say
Yeah.
probably,
I
yeah.
mean, I know there's men that do struggle.
Yeah, I think women probably struggle in a different way, because we're always told to be smaller.
Yes,
Where
I think
maybe
so.
men are looked at like, "Oh, well, you should have more muscle," this, that, as so
They want
it's
to be
yeah,
bigger.
so it's a little different for women. Like, I remember, like, just growing up, not food wise, but even just like, I would hunch when I was younger, because I was so tall. I was taller than every boy, I was taller than everyone, and I hated it, and I just wanted to be shorter, like, and just blend in with everyone. But I
Mhm.
think that's kind of like, that's how society basically has trained us, is to think like we have to be smaller, we have to be skinnier, we have to fit in certain clothes, and we have to, you know, look like Barbie essentially, which creates a
Eating
culture where,
disorder
yeah, and
sometimes.
it just creates a culture where, especially like, I went through this a lot in college, where a compliment, and I had to check myself on it as well, because people think a compliment is telling you you're skinny. And to someone that might be struggling with an eating disorder or something, that might be fueling it, and they're thinking, "This is good. I need to be smaller because I'm
That's
getting these." Because I
exactly
had
what I
a
feel.
friend that said that. I was like, because again, I didn't realize she was struggling, and I was like, "I would love to look like you," and she was like, "No, you wouldn't." And then she explained, and I had no idea, and I was like, "Wow, that's such a good point. Like, we shouldn't be making these. Like, if you want to say someone looks healthy, or you're glowing, or wow, it looks like you're gaining a lot of muscle, anything like that, but to just be like you're skinny is like does a lot more harm than good. And that was something in college a lot. Like I had some of my teammates, like I had never paid attention, like again, the scale, and they would run in and go tell each other, "Oh, this one lost weight, go see her. This one looks so skinny, look at her. Oh, I can't." And like eating one egg a day, some of them.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
think, yeah, so I think culturally, like, it just starts to run rampant, and it's hard not to get caught up in it. And I had someone on our team that had a severe, severe eating disorder. So, like, witnessing that firsthand it's like, it's scary, really.
Yeah. Yeah. Did she admit to you that she had it? Because usually we don't admit it. Or did you just know? Or was
For a while, it was severe enough, like,
you could
our trainers were like, "You can't play anymore." So,
Mhm.
it it
Was
was
it anorexia, bulimia, probably?
anorexia, yeah. So it became that we all knew, and once she realized we all knew, she would talk about it with certain people, and we all kind of made it our job to watch, like just keeping an eye, like, are you okay? Making sure things are going okay. And she would share, like when she would go to the doctor, she started sharing more and stuff. But there were times where I I think it was at a time when I was injured, so I was getting up really early to go to the gym, and I'd see her in there with a boot on. She broke a foot,
I'm
you
too
know,
sick there.
so, and I would go right to the trainers and be like, "Listen, I saw her in there, and this is like that's not good." And so then
Mm,
they'd have to talk. So I have seen, like, I think some people think because it's not drug or alcohol, it's like, well, just eat, just
yeah,
stop
it's
participating.
like,
And it's
really?
no,
Yeah.
it's so much more than that. And so seeing it firsthand made it so much more real, what people like, that struggle. And it's truly a battle between, yourself and the mirror a lot of times.
Mhm. So, too, with food, I feel that I embracing that gray space, right? It's not black and white. I think that can get us into a lot of trouble too. But again, with the honesty of what else is gray. There's so much in the gray space too. And then I wrote down here to like it's not if, it's when we slip. For
Mhm.
me, when I slip. And a slip can be anything. Like I'm carnivore, so there's not many slips I could do, but I could eat way too much butter. I could eat too much dairy. So, and then is that, am I relapsing? I think not. My sponsor thinks not, but there's some programs that would say yes. If you go
Yeah.
off your food plan and eat chicken instead of beef, and you said you were going to eat chicken, you're out. You got to start over, and
Mm.
that might work for some people. I,
Yeah.
I agree. For me, I would go down that route and just do that to an addiction level and
Yeah.
be more like orthorexic, they call it, of perfection. And you have
Yeah.
to eat this and you have to eat this, and which I probably have struggled with in my past. I
Mhm.
must admit that. But it gives me a little bit of freedom. But again, I have to be careful with that. Like I'm gonna slip.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't want to, I don't plan to, but some I'm gonna say that I will. I just do. I
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew, but I know Tom knows that recently I tried with, and my sponsor said to bring, because carnivores don't eat plants, but you
Yeah.
can start bringing food in. If it works for you, you're fine. I just
Yeah.
have to be careful because not only carnivore, but I have eating disorder stuff.
Mhm.
So I was going to bring in apples and nuts.
Yeah.
Nuts are one of my trigger foods.
Okay.
Hello. So I saw, like, I was thinking about nuts all day long. I was grabbing a handful and then another handful. and then obsessing about it. Like, that is not normal.
Yeah.
It's not normal. So January 1st, they're out. I don't think that was a relapse. And I gained weight because of the sugar in the apple. And so I'm like, okay, that was a slip. Now I'm gonna reroute and go this way.
Yeah.
I think so many people, and I used to do this, I would slip and then I'd like, screw it, I'm gonna have the cake and the cookies and the this and then gain 20 pounds. So we have to like catch it sooner. I
Yeah.
think. And
Especially,
just go, okay, now what? Right? No, we don't have to be so dramatic about it.
I think the gray is where I like to hang out most of the time. Because I think
I'm
I love
trying to be gray.
something that Lisa and I like were just having a conversation one time, and with she was saying like with her kids she does the like green, yellow, red with food. You know, green is like, you know, yeah, your meats, certain vegetables, like, yeah, you could eat that, go ahead, get your snack. Yellow is like, yeah, once in a while you can have this and it's okay, but you're not gonna have five of these things every day. And then red
That's
is like
tips,
maybe
right?
once in a blue moon you can have that, but we're gonna watch because that's not the best. And I think that's teaching kids that young, it makes much more sense because it's hard in your brain when you're like, that's a bad food, but then I ate it, so now I'm bad, and now I feel bad. Oh, and then it goes to,
Exactly. Yeah, we say
yeah,
we're bad.
and then it's like, forget it, I'm just gonna eat everything because I already ate something bad, so I might as well eat all the bad things, and then maybe tomorrow I'll cut it all out, and then it just gets like messy because I know I've struggled with that. Restriction, again, is not my thing. Like, if I say I can't eat this, I'm
Then
gonna
you're
eat
gonna
I'm gonna eat like 500 of them. But if I just say, like if I want a cookie, I'm gonna have one. And again, that's something like because I haven't struggled on the more severe side of eating disorders, I can do that. So like I'll say I'm privileged to be able to do that. That if I want something sweet, I'm gonna have one. Oh, that was enough, and then I won't crave it. But if I say I can't have it, so I'm gonna have some nuts, and then I'm gonna have a yogurt, and then I'm gonna have this, and then it was like, well, I might as well should have had the one cookie and moved on with my life because now I'm just obsessing and eating all this food for no reason, and now I'm just stressed out. So it's like you said,
yeah,
it's depending on the person. Like you do really well in discipline, like with your come from your life, your workout, everything. Like you do so well with discipline, whereas some other people like me,
they would go
that would
nuts.
make me like feel so like constrained, and that would make me freak out. So it's like it has to
Mhm.
work within your own system and how you're feeling. And sometimes it changes. Like I wouldn't call even with nuts or apples like a slip up. That wasn't a slip up. Like you were just testing your system. You were seeing, you know what? It's been this many years. Let me just see. And it didn't work for your body. It doesn't work for you. Okay. So what did you do? You cut it back out and you're sick to what you know. And then maybe next year you might say, oh, this sounds like it might be good for me. But to me, that's never a slip up. That's you're literally just living your
Yeah,
life.
that's a good point. It's like it's experience, right? I'm
Yeah.
learning from, let me try this. I'm gonna be honest. I told my sponsor, I told people, if I do it in secret, that's a red flag.
Mhm.
So I was like eating them in front of my husband. He's like, whoa, you're eating an apple. Like, I'm trying this out. And now, yeah, it didn't work. So maybe it'll work months down the line. But right now, not so much. But I want to go back to something you said because I'm listening to this book that's really good. I don't agree with everything that she's saying. It's on food and stuff, which is another point. Like you can listen to books and podcasts and like pick what works for you and pick that, no, I don't like that.
Yeah.
But she was saying that I do with dieting usually, but nothing else is like, well, I already had a cookie, so I'm just going to have 10 and screw it. That was like, her example was like, that's like having a flat tire, slashing your other 3 tires, and setting the car on fire. Why would we do that?
Yeah, that's so
We
true.
do it with food. We don't do it with work. Oh, I'm 5 minutes late. I'm just not going to work anymore. Forget it.
Yeah.
Or your husband pisses you off. I'm getting a divorce. Forget it. Why do we do it with food and
Yeah.
exercise? I think because it's an excuse and now we get to eat the things.
Mhm.
And I just, and it's a habit.
Yeah. And then, like
Maybe.
emotional
What do you think?
I think it's
It's
both. And I
different.
think there's like high levels of emotional dysregulation. And so people, the easiest, what like if you weren't using drugs, alcohol, but you need something easy that's legal to fix yourself,
Sugar.
ice cream's really easy. Cookies are really easy. Like any food is
Vanilla.
really easy. You always have access to it. It's you can go buy it. No one's gonna look at you funny if you're eating a whole pack
Exactly.
of ice cream.
Nobody cares if you're eating
Yeah,
a
like and so it's easy and a lot of times people might learn that, when we're younger, like it made me feel better, oh, you fell down or crying, here's an ice cream cone. Okay, well, this makes me feel better. So I think even things like that, because I've been in emotion, like if I'm stressed and things, I'll turn to food. I'm like, oh, I need a snack, even though I don't need a snack. And so that's sometimes something I think about, like, I don't really need it's gonna end up making my stomach hurt, and then I'm just gonna feel worse than I already did. And even though I felt like good for a brief second while I was eating it. So
Mhm.
sometimes it's like taking, I think you've said this before, like taking that minute to like take a deep breath and be like, am I hungry or am I just stressed, upset, or am I bored? Like
Yeah.
what am I reaching for and why?
But that takes a pause, right? Usually we
Yeah.
just grab the food. We
Yeah.
have to like stop. And then we have to say and know with experience, an urge is not going to kill me. Why do
Mhm.
we have to think, oh my God, but I have an urge? What if I have an urge? So what?
Yeah.
You probably have an urge to quit your job every month. No, you don't. You have an urge to like tell your husband to shut up, but you don't. So we
Yeah.
just have to get in the practice of, okay, this is uncomfortable. I really want to eat that. Let me leave the room or let me do a push-ups or let me whatever. And sometimes you will grab it. And then you can look at it after and like, well, what can I do next time? Because
Mhm.
there probably will be a next time.
Yeah.
And
And that
remember
applies to
how
everything too.
yeah, and remember how you felt after. I think that's really important. Like you say, many times you get the tummy ache, or mine's more of an emotional pain. Like,
Mhm.
how could I have done that? Of all people, I know better, right? But I don't. And I feel shame and just like, so that I have to remember next time I want to do it, like, I'm going to feel XYZ. Do I really want to do that? And many times people, with me included in the past, it's like, yeah, I don't care, you
Yeah.
know? But then we have to stop there. We do care. That's another automatic, stupid thing to say
It's like
because
a
we do.
protection. It just protects you when you
Yes,
say you don't care, like you're
it's
just trying to
giving you an
protect
excuse
yourself.
to eat the freaking thing. And we need to stop being so dramatic. That's another thing, like drama. Oh, I'm starving. Really? I doubt it.
Okay, I'm dramatic like that.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
that's drama. Whenever someone says that, I just want to freaking puke. Like, really? Are you
I
really
am
starving?
I am that dramatic. I will admit to that. I am that drama queen right there. I'm like, "Oh god, it's been an hour since my last meal." I guess I should work on that. You
Yes.
might have a point there.
Don't you think it's like it's
Yeah, you're not.
drama?
Yeah,
It's
I did a
drama.
24-hour fast, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not starving." I learned.
Right.
Alright. It's alright.
Right. People can go on and on and on and on and on without eating. Not
Yeah.
water, but you can. You're not
That's what you should
starving.
do.
Even that body fat on your body for even lean individuals have 12% body fat or whatever. That's a lot that you can live off of.
That's funny.
But
I feel like the gray is similar with exercise too, because I think it goes both ways. Like sometimes people feel like, oh, I missed one day at the gym. I might as well take the week off. Or sometimes like that need, like you're saying, that need for perfection of the perfect workout, or oh, I should have done, 2 hours, but I only did a half, like things like that. Because I know from being an athlete my whole life, and then once stopped playing, it was like, what do I do? Because I'm so used to, training to perform at a high level. Now I don't need to train like that, right? That I don't need that amount of stress on my body anymore. But then I was like, well, but what do I do? Because that's what I'm used to. So if I'm doing something less, it feels like I'm not doing anything. And it's like a weird it was a weird time to figure out, I love exercising, but now what does it look like for me? What does it mean to me? And how am I going to make it enjoyable still in a way that,
What does it look like for you now?
so, honestly, it changes. Right now I lift probably 5 to 6 days a week, just weightlifting, um, and then I'll do some cardio like sprints because I can't run on a treadmill long
Right.
distance, but I'll do sprints or like the assault bike.
Mm,
But sometimes I get bored and I'm like, I'm sick of lifting. I'm over this, and I'll go to hot yoga and I'll do that for months, and then I'll stop and I'll do switch to like an Orange Theory or like an F45. They're kind of similar. Workout like that, and I'll do that for a couple months, and then I'll be like, oh, I want bigger muscles, and then I'll go back. So sometimes and I'm better now. Like I take when I'm really like, you know what I need, just a day off, not
mm,
sitting, like I'm not just sitting around. It's, I'm just gonna go for a jog outside, or I'm just gonna take my dog for an extra long walk, or I'm gonna put a workout on my TV and do it there. Which in the past wouldn't have been the case. I would feel so guilty. I would literally cancel plans and be like, I can't go because that's gonna mess up my gym schedule. Like, and it would stress me out. And I'd be like, well, if I do this, then I'm gonna have to get up like 3 hours earlier, and then now I'm getting up at 4 to go to the gym just because someone wants to have breakfast with me. When I and
yeah,
so
yeah,
now I'm like, oh, someone wants to do something. All right, I'll just switch up the schedule. That'll be my off day and work out the other days, or I'll take 2 days off and then I'll get back and be more flexible instead of being so
black
obsessive.
and white, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the gray, I'm learning to be more gray with stuff. And I have to tell myself, like, something is better than nothing,
Hmm.
right? Maybe I can't get to the gym or whatever, and which is, I can't even say that out loud because I don't work full time. I can go to the gym whenever I want. I have a gym in the
You have a
house.
gym in your house.
Well, but I'm just thinking hypothetically,
Yeah.
maybe something came up. I don't know. But, well, I know an example. Since August, I've been running every single day.
Yeah.
Sometimes I missed, but every day. So then I was starting to get a little crazy about it because I'm like, well, 2 miles minimum. So sometimes I would do 7 and then 6 and 7. And all on top of all the other exercise I
Yeah.
do, which is 15 hours. But that's a whole other issue. So it was raining. I'm like, oh my God, I have to run. This was last week. And I'm like, and I don't want to run in the rain. Maybe that's wussy, but I just don't.
No,
So
I
I'm
don't
like,
like
well, what
it.
can I do? I'm going to go in my gym and do the rower and bike and box jumps, which is cardio, like running
Mhm.
is, for 20 minutes or whatever, what I would have been running. And I'm going to do that. And it's fine. But months ago, I would have been like, no, but that's not running. And I said,
Yeah.
I'm going to run.
Put your raincoat on.
Ah. But it's fine, right? Yeah,
Yeah. I know.
there's
It's
something.
sometimes it's easy to just fall into it and be like, but I need to. But,
Yeah.
sometimes you don't need to. It's all right. Even with sleep, like, I feel like we underestimate the power of sleep. And I'm one of those people that it's like, yeah, I would love to work out, but if it's between getting up real, like, obnoxiously early just to work out because I have like a real early flight or something else going on. Before I would have, like, when I was abroad, we had a flight early to go somewhere, and I got up at 2 and I like did a whole workout, and then like I was like, we have to run when we get there. And that was great. My roommate was like, get out of my face. And I was like, you're right. But now I'm like, I need the sleep because sleep is just as important, if not more important sometimes. So I'm like, I'll sleep in and then I'll figure out the rest of the day. Like, but and
No,
even
that's
when
true.
we traveled, like I think it was the first night that I was it the first night that we were in Arizona? I forget if I did it, but there was one where I was like, I'm not working out in the morning, or I slept later and then I did something, but I was like, I need to sleep. Like I'm someone who does not function well if they don't get enough sleep. And so sometimes I'm like, I have to prioritize differently and that looks different on each day depending on how I'm feeling. And then traveling, I don't travel well either. So it's like sometimes you have to think about other things that are just as important as that exercise as
Mm.
well for your health.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel the same. If I don't get close to 8 hours, I feel it, and it's just not good. I
Yeah.
feel
Because I'm an
down.
edgy person when I get sleep. So if I don't get sleep, I'm like, nope, I don't have time for anybody. Say something, I will snap. So I'm protecting
Yeah.
you all.
Yeah,
Like,
and it raises our insulin, it raises our cortisol, it makes people hungrier. That's the last thing someone needs with the issues that I have. I don't need to be hungrier
mhm.
because it just, oh, Dale.
Yes.
In regards to proper diet and exercise, I'm grateful for the knowledge of his will and the power to carry it out. Mostly keto to carnivore works for me, and walking 3 miles per day. Yeah, I think that's amazing. Like knowing what works for us, and then knowing too what works for us today might not work for us in the future. We might need to up our game and like start lifting weights because that's more important than cardio. And but
Mhm.
maybe we didn't know that. And then we heard a podcast, and longevity is from muscle mass. So I need to lose, I need to, I almost said lose weight. I need to gain muscle. That doesn't mean you have to lose weight. Maybe you need to gain weight because you need to gain muscle mass. You might gain
Yeah.
weight, and that's okay. You're actually healthier because now when you fall, you're not going to break your hip, and you're going to be stronger. You can get back up,
Yep.
and which means you need to eat protein to fuel your muscles. Not saying you have to be carnivore like me, but you need protein and not be afraid of fat.
And you gotta do what you can when you can. Like, I think that's also sometimes hard. People are like, "Well, I can't work out 5 days a week." That's fine. Start with 1. All right?
Exactly.
That feels good? Go to 2. See what that feels like. You're still doing strong? Try out 3. Test it out. Like, I think sometimes
Do 5 minutes every day.
yeah, there's
If you don't
so
have five
many
minutes, you have a problem. Like, how much TV are you watching?
yeah,
Give
because
me a
there's
break.
even workouts online, like, I've seen, like, 7 minutes, and, like, it'll get your heart rate up. Okay, that's what you had time for today. That's perfect. It's something. And even food, like, this is something that I'm now kind of trying to dive into is obviously can't be perfect, but paying more attention to the ingredients of what I'm buying.
Mhm,
So I, like, followed a bunch of people, one, like, Lisa put me onto, and then through that, following a bunch of different doctors and, like, other people that research food and what's in them and things and trying to see like okay where can I swap and where is it like financially feasible because I'm going to say some of this stuff is ridiculously expensive and
yeah.
I can't swing it, but there are simple places where I can stop like swaps. So one is I have stomach issues, so always feel like I need ginger ale, so I started making my own ginger ale because it's actual ginger ale that has ginger in it, and ginger ale from the store does not
Mhm,
have ginger in it.
right.
It just has chemicals and dye. So it's like easy. All I needed was some sparkling water and ginger root. Done. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
So that's I've just been now I since got the ginger this week, I've been making that every day, and it tastes great. And it's literally just
And is
boiled
it helping
ginger.
you? Is it helping?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Ginger
that's
always helps.
another thing. Like we buy all these supplements and we eat this and da. Well, how's it working for you? Is
Yeah,
it working or is it not? If it's not, pivot and try something
yeah,
else.
exactly. Yep. So
Don't
it's
just
like
trash it and say, screw it, I'm just going to go back to eating all the crap.
no, no,
No,
no.
pivot and find what works for you.
Test it out too because I was like, making things. That was just laziness. But once I did it, I was like, oh, but it tastes so much better and it's real and I know what's in it and it does help me. And even just trying to pay more like my aunt has a book that what is it? It was like every herb and then it tells you like what they can be used for. Because I've been
Mhm.
trying to look more into like homeopathic remedies. Um, because I don't love I just have never liked taking a lot of like Advil or anything like that. But like sometimes I'm like, I need a little something, something. So
Mhm.
I'm trying to look into herbs and to understand them before I just run into a store and I'm like, let me just try all these. So just trying little things and seeing where that goes and kind of, start with just one thing, like instead of, yeah, buying ginger ale, make your own. And then, if you like that, look into something else that you like usually have in your house that might not be the best and see, well, maybe there's a swap or maybe I can make it in a way that's better for me. because like even Lisa's making sourdough bread, sourdough bagels, found a hobby, and it's way better than buying those things. She knows what's in them. She's putting the ingredients in.
Mhm.
So it's like
My
little
my
things.
carnivore bones are like bread. No.
Sorry, but we are not a carnivore over
But
here.
everybody has different goals, and that's
I have been eating way more meat. I'll tell you that. So I have my eggs, and I got these clean ingredient sausages or bacon every morning. Then lunches are these meatballs that I got with sauerkraut, and then I have like
Mm,
the grass-fed butter I'll slather up in there. So there is meat. There's not just bread.
yeah. Yes.
We are working on it.
Yes. But it's just like that's being truthful and honest. Like if I or someone, not me, because I won't, if someone's eating bread and they're at a stall for months, then maybe it's the bread. Maybe it's the cookies. Maybe it's the dairy. It's something. They'll look at, like, I'm big on food logs. Like, look at what you're eating. Look at your macros. Are you know what? It's right there. All our hormones are controlled by what we eat. What we look like basically is what we eat. How we feel is what we eat. So let's look at what we're eating. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's not easy, but it's pretty simple. What are you eating? That's like my first question to anyone if they are asking. Be careful, don't ask me. Like, I
Yeah.
have this. This is happening. Well, what are you eating? And they look at me like I'm crazy. Like, what are you eating?
But it's so true.
Guess
Like,
what you're eating?
yeah, even everything I've been again reading more and more and seeing it's everything from your obviously your gut controls basically everything inside your whole life. So it is
Exactly.
literally what you're eating, our
Yes.
especially women, our hormones, what we're eating, and
Every hormone is reacting to what you're
yeah,
eating
and
or
it's
not eating,
crazy.
right?
Yeah,
And your
your
sleep
skin,
and your stress.
your hair, everything,
Yes.
and it's
Yeah,
crazy.
it
And it
is.
is stressful. So I'm not gonna like I get stressed when I start reading because I'm like, oh, like I should just never eat any food ever again. But so that's why I'm saying like take it slow and see what you can swap in and out and do it because otherwise, one, unless you got the money. If you got the money, girl, swipe, 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 buy whatever you want. I do not. So we do one at a time and we like read up and try to understand like just like you said, like what am I needing? Like what do I think I'm missing? What's going on? And working from there. And sometimes you might need a doctor for that. Like I want to do a whole allergy panel because I feel like maybe I'm allergic to something that I'm just missing and continuing to eat. So just one step
Yeah.
at a time. It's like everything, it is like the other programs as well. It's that one day at a time, one step at a time, figuring out what works for you. Because like you said, not everything is going to work for you and it's going to change. Like my friend always said, what saved me might kill you. And I think that's across the board factual. Like whether it comes to alcohol, any type of drug use, exercising, food, like just because it worked for your friend, your sister, your mother, your dad, doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And that doesn't mean something's wrong with you. It just means that you need to find a different program or find a community that works for you and that can help you align with what you're feeling and kind of support you in that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Especially with the food and the exercise stuff, because
Yeah.
there's just so many different opinions and dogmas and personalities, and it's the acceptable drug is sugar, and everybody's pushing it on you. And like if you were saying, "Oh, I don't drink," they'd be like, "Oh, okay, cool. Oh, I'm not going to eat that. Oh, just eat it. Oh, you
Yeah.
deserve it. Oh, I made it." Like, I don't eat
Yeah.
sugar. I'm not eating it.
It is, and it is like people, it just kind of goes over people's heads when things like that do come up. Because I feel like I've definitely been rude and have done that to people. And then I have had people do that to me when I'm like, oh, no, it's okay. I don't want that. Why? Just have it. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. You could use it, like depending on how, like, yeah, like you could use the extra pound or whatever. It's like, first of all, get out of my face. Second of all,
Yeah.
I just don't wanna eat it. Like, or
Yeah.
I might have struggled with this. I wouldn't go up to someone and be like, "No, but it's okay. It's just a little cocaine. Just have some. It's fine." Just it's just a little. Like, so
Right.
why would I do that to someone with food? Same
Exactly.
struggle.
And I've found too, the people that have the most issue with it are struggling themselves with the sugar and the overeating. So they're the ones that kind of like will push
Yeah.
me
It's like a
sometimes. I'm like,
shame and guilt,
they're
like,
putting
I'll
their
do
problems on me,
it.
and
Yeah.
I have enough of my own. I don't need yours.
Yeah.
I'm not eating it.
I have my own
Goodbye.
backpack full. Please, don't add.
No.
Yeah, it's interesting
Mhm.
how it's, like, flipping where, like, the sober movement, people like, I haven't been drinking, like, I've I feel like most people know I've never struggled with alcohol or drugs. Um, I've struggled with other things, but I'm just not drinking just doesn't do well for me, like, my stomach just we're not friends, just, "Meh, I don't need it, it's whatever." So, now I feel like people are just like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, I got sparkling water in the fridge, whatever." So it's
It's
like,
more
"Cool."
acceptable. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's so interesting how that's, like, shifting, but then again, like you're saying with food, it's still different. It's still that, like, "Well, eat the ice cream, but I brought this for you."
I
And
made it
so
special.
yeah. So it's hard for but I think it all relates back to we need to eat so that it's hard for people to wrap their heads around, and they don't think about it. Again, like, I wouldn't offer you a bump of cocaine, so so just relax, and when I say, "No, thank you" to that cupcake, think of it like a cocaine, and if someone says, "No," okay, bye. Like, but
Yeah.
it's people don't think about it obviously in that manner. They just think, "Well, it's fun. It's fine."
Yeah. I think too on this side of the equation, like I had to catch myself in the beginning, and I don't think I say it anymore, but I might. Like, "Oh, I can't eat that." Like that I think people shouldn't say it like that. Like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I'm choosing not to eat that," or I don't want to eat that," or because if we say I can't, then it's drama again. And you can, but you're choosing not to
Yeah,
because there's more reasons of not to eat it than to eat it because of the weight gain or the diabetes or the eating disorder brain or the whatever.
yeah.
So I'm
Even no, like,
I don't eat that.
no
And
is a
then
full sentence. "No, thank you."
yeah,
And
yeah,
that should be enough. Obviously, I do understand and it's not. Sometimes people will pry and then you should, but just saying no thank you should be enough. Oh, okay. Move on. That's it.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
it's in reality, it shouldn't be shocking. Someone does I'm not hungry. I'm good. Thank
Yeah.
you.
It can get a little weird,
Mhm.
sometimes, and I'm used to it now because 'cause it's been years, but in the beginning, like, many days I do OMAD, like, 1 meal a
Yeah.
day. So and I wanna go to lunch with somebody or go to coffee, and so I don't eat, and sometimes they have an issue with it, but I'm fine.
Yeah.
Like, "You can eat in front of me, I don't care, I'm not eating."
Yeah.
Or I bring my own food, like, you
Yeah,
know.
I saw.
I bring my own food, even if I'm going to New York from California, I bring my own food.
Yeah.
You have
And
an
I'll
extra
admit, I thought
day?
it would be weird, like,
Weird? I don't
but it's
care.
not.
It
It's not
keeps me
it
safe.
wasn't.
I'm preparing my own food. I'm not eating that pizza and pasta, and I'm not. And you can
Yeah.
eat it. That's fine. I'm not eating it. But it takes kind of some balls on my side to like, because other people, oh, I feel bad. Oh, I have to eat it. Oh, I have to eat the pizza because it. Hell no. Not
I am
eating it.
prepared.
I'm not eating it.
Yeah,
No, no.
that's called
But again, that takes practice, that takes,
mhm,
takes
discipline.
some experience. You could also, I've heard, and I don't like it, it just seems like a lie to me of like
Mhm.
get it on your plate and then just kind of push it around and not eat it. I'm like,
Feels
that's a
wasteful.
waste.
Feels wasteful, but I
Yeah.
feel if you are in a
What?
place that's like, if you're not comfortable yet and you're just starting, you're like, "This is what I need to do," you do you. Do what you gotta
Yeah.
do. But if
Yeah.
it's yeah, but eventually like, if you were to do that, I'd be like, "But why? We all know you don't need to."
I
Like,
know. You guys would freak out if you saw
yeah, but
pizza
like,
on
"What are
my
you even
plate.
doing?"
What are you
Waste
doing?
too. But otherwise sometimes that's like a starting point, and then they're like, all right, I can do that and feel comfortable in the setting, and then
Yeah.
as like
And
gaining
bring
confidence.
food to parties that you can eat. That's a huge, great idea.
Yeah.
Like I always bring meat. If we go to life group or we go to whatever, and there's a brunch at church coming up, and I'm gonna bring bacon and sausage and
Yeah.
deviled eggs or stuff that I can eat.
Yeah.
So
And everyone
I
else will eat it too. So
yes,
it's like good for
hopefully. But with the donuts and the muffins and the bread
everyone.
there, I'm sure they'll be eating that. But I'll be eating my meat.
It's a mix. It's a mix.
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely a I just think of walking on a tightrope, trying to figure it out.
Yeah. But not like a scary falling off
No.
tightrope, right? It's more of like a
No,
comfort
you're a seasoned
finding
trapezist.
or
Yeah, it's fun.
yeah,
It can
and
be fun.
pivoting when needed, being open to listen to what other people are doing and maybe
Mhm.
take some of the stuff and push the other stuff away.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
What
else?
advice would you give someone that's like thinks they're struggling with food but isn't sure?
I would say, like, be totally honest. Go to a few meetings, Came to Believe, or I'm in SCAA, which is Sugar Carbs Anonymous
Mhm.
Addiction, something. And you can go to one of those meetings and just listen and see if you identify. Like, if it's
Mhm.
on your head and you're obsessing or compulsing about what you ate, why you ate it, can't get food off or you have to exercise, there's probably an issue.
Yeah.
Probably an issue. And you're not alone because there's so many people that have the issues that are ignoring it.
Yeah.
And the stigma of weight too is hard because there's so many fit people like you and I that are struggling, but people don't see it because we're not obese or whatever, overweight.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of thin, fit people that are struggling just as much as the 300-pound lady that you see, whatever.
Yeah.
So you never know. They just show it on the outside, and we show it on the inside. The same issue, it's just
Yeah,
shown
it's just
differently.
different for
Or
everyone.
coping with food or restriction or exercise,
Mhm.
and it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah. I think it's everyone should think inward because most of the time, it's not the food. It has nothing to do with the food. It has nothing to
It's
do with
not
the
that's a
exercise.
symptom, right?
Yeah, it has something to do with something you're feeling that you're not quite aware of yet or not ready, maybe not ready to confront, which is okay. But doing like a little self exploration of,
Mhm.
well, why do I feel this way? Or why do I think I need to be, way less, be skinnier? Or why do I think I overeat sometimes or overexercise? And, what does that bring up on me just saying out loud that I might be doing those things? And then kind of like working from there and talking to someone like Alicea that knows, who's been through it, who, has had those feelings, who understands those feelings, and kind of sorting through them. Because I always feel like what's a good analogy here? I don't know. Like, when your necklace is all twisted and you're like, I should throw it out, but let me see if I can get undone. Somehow I feel like that's how my brain is and what's
Mm,
going on inside of me. And I have to sit there with the necklace and I'm like, I can't throw it out because I need it. So let me sit here and it takes a lot of patience. And sometimes you get one knot out and you're like, all right, it's progress. And then, the next day you might try a little more until you get it all out and you're like, oh, it's because I'm anxious. That's why X, Y, and I do X, Y, and Z. And I'm
yeah,
just trying to, it's self protection. That's it. I'm just trying to protect myself. And this is the mode I chose to do so. And so
yeah,
now that I know that, how do I shift and choose, something healthier? How do I maybe just work through it still, keep talking about it until I get to a point where, okay, I'm ready. I feel like it's just like the stages of change. Even reading, like you could just Google a stages of change chart, and there's pre-contemplation, contemplation, action. Because you might be like, once you see that and read it and say, oh, I'm in pre-contemplation. So what, these are some steps I can take that might move me further up into contemplation and then into action.
Yeah, no, that's a good point with like gaining information, but we need to take action on that information that we're gaining. Like with the thing you said about being anxious, that triggered something that I wanted to say is like sugar causes anxiety. So once we see that in writing and scientific studies and show that what our brain does, and we're running to sugar when we're anxious, you're actually making it worse.
Yeah.
But we have to see it and understand it and believe that that is true, because it is. Depression and anxiety get worse with sugar, 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 sugar. So we need to like pause and go, do I want to be more anxious? Because I'm anxious. Do I want to be more anxious? Because if so, I'm going to eat that cookie. And at least then be honest. Like, I'm making my anxiety worse. I'm choosing to eat this cookie rather than like, oh, it's going to help me. It's going to help me. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not. It's making it worse. And then the shame on top of it and the weight gain and it's not helping. And our society says it is, and it's not.
No, sadly, it's not.
It's not. All right. Well, live in the gray.
Yeah.
And find out what your gray is. And realize when we're being so black and white. I think that would be a good exercise for people to concentrate and take away from this is what's the gray? And be honest with yourself on what is working and what isn't when it comes to food and exercise.
Yep.
Yeah.
And be kind to yourself. That's the last. Be kind. Be gentle.
Yes. Then you fall, get back up. It's okay. Get up.
That's sometimes the biggest. Sometimes that's the biggest deterrent is we're so aggressive. We're mean to ourselves, really. We're just mean.
We are. If we talk to other people like we talk to ourselves, we wouldn't have any friends.
We get smacked. Someone would I'd get hit. Someone would get hit. So sometimes you just be kind. Sometimes that's it. You just have to be kinder to yourself. And then all of a sudden you just start making better decisions and better things because you're like treating yourself the way you would treat someone else, the way you would feed your spouse or your child or your mom, your dad, anyone. Like you're like, oh. So sometimes just be kind, have some passion for yourself. And then it might just all fall into place.
Right. And get some sleep. If you're tired, don't go to the fridge. Go to bed.
Yeah.
Try that on for size. Go to bed.
Let's go back to preschool when we got to nap. Can I bring that back? Instead of lunch breaks, I want nap breaks.
Yes.
Can I implement that somewhere? Where's my congressman? Because sometimes you just need a good nap. And then you're like, okay, I'm back. I'm ready. Take on the day. So that's what we leave you with. Be kind and take a nap.
Yes. Be honest, be kind, take a nap.
We're going to make a shirt. Be honest, be kind, take a nap. Oh, it's our new shirt.
Yes. All right. Always so good to talk to you, Cass. Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.